Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Bernie here. I have been using the Blackmagic Camera App for the iPhone 15 for a while now, huh? And I must say it's impressive. And I'm using it right now with my DIY teleprompter. If you haven't seen how I built my DIY teleprompter for the iPhone 15, you can click the link right here. Alright, so let's start off with the lens, and as you can see, when you click it, it will prompt you with 3 lenses. Because this iPhone 15 has number 1 a 26mm lens, and that's the main lens, and 90% of the time I use that one. And then next we have the wide angle lens. It's the 13mm, and it says here times 0.5. And it works very well. I like it too. And after that, we have the front camera, which can produce 4K images as well. And now we'll go back to the main camera. And as you can see, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is to tap and it will turn into blue color. And now this time around, we move on to the 23.98. This one is the FPS, or frames per second. And as you can see right now, when I tap that, it is set to 23.98, but you can always change it and set to 24 this time around. And why did I choose 23.98? It's because to match my FX30, GH6, and my other cameras here. And now let's go and move on to the shutter. You can choose the shutter speed, either 48 for 24p or 23.98, but I chose the angle. It is because I want to not touch it anymore if I ever change the frames per second either to 24p or 60p. I want the shutter to be automatically set, and 180 degrees, it will always double the frame rate, which is to maintain motion blur. And now let's move on to iris. As you can see, I can't even touch it and it's grayed out. It is because it's disabled. You can't enable it and you can't change the iris, and it's set to the lowest number, meaning the widest open aperture. Yeah, so iris stays with f1.6. Let's try to change the lens and see. Let's say front. Now it defaults to f1.9 for the front camera, and now for the wide camera, it defaults to 2.4. Next, as you can see right here, the biggest numbers, this is going to be your time code. So what we have here is that it retained the last video being recorded, the number. And then once you click record again, it will go back to 0 and start over again. The next thing is the ISO. Let's click that. So the thing about this ISO is that you can easily change the ISO from actually from 35 all the way to 4375. So let's do that right now so that you can see my camera. Yeah, there you go, the ISO, and then white balance. As you can see right now, it is set to auto. I tried manual before, it's okay, but I find that the auto works best with this Blackmagic Camera App. But you can also choose any of the presets here depending on the situation. But for me, auto works fine. Now we go to tint. You can also set that. See, you can change the tint from 0 to -50 or 50, but I set it to auto and no issues so far. I lock it in place and then set to auto. And now an indicator that it's filming in 4K, and then the battery percentage. Now moving on to the bottom part. As you can see here, this one is the waveform, and unfortunately you can't make it bigger, unlike when you click or tap the audio. Now it's showing you fine microphone, and then we have here the indicator, the memory capacity of your phone. I'm recording internally using H.265, which has smaller files than H.264. Even this one, the amount of storage, you can't actually make it bigger. Only the audio indicator or the audio levels. So there you go, that's the main features of the Blackmagic Camera App. And now let's go to tools. The good thing about these tools, you can easily use this and set them up, and will help you tremendously for your filmmaking process. First one is the zebra. And the thing about this, you can change the percentage to 100%, and you can turn it on or off. let's turn it off for now. And the next one is focus peaking, and this one is on at the moment, and you can always change the percentage from 1 all the way to 100. As you can see, there's a tiny white color. It's like small particles. Yeah, let's put it to 85 as well. And then as you can see here, this one is the level indicator, and we'll turn it off, and now it's gone. Yeah, it's good that we have these tools to help us out when we're framing the shot or when we're just filming in general. The next thing right here is the aspect ratio, and I leave it to 2.35:1 ratio. Yeah, if I turn it on and then go out, you can see the indicator. Don't be scared to use this one because it's not embedded to the image. This is just for the display for framing purposes. So it's okay to set that. And let me tell you that some features I'm going to omit because they don't apply to me or to my filming style. Alright, so moving on to the next tool, we have the autofocus. You can actually set this manually. I just leave it on auto and it works fine. And then stabilization. I have these two standard, and you can actually turn it off. If you're filming and the camera or the iPhone 15 is on a tripod, then there's no need for you to turn on stabilization. And now let's go to record setting. And as you can see here, my codec is HEVC or H.265. I chose this because I want smaller files, but then again, you have to have a very fast computer. But my 16 gig 2020 M1 MacBook Air works just fine. And I tried Apple ProRes 422 HQ before, but the files are huge. And my Mac, it's struggling whenever I edit. So H.265 is my choice at the moment because of the smaller files. So resolution 4K as always. And then color space, I have it set to Rec 709, but you can do Rec 2020 HDR or the P3 D65. But for me, my choice is Rec 709. And then timecode display, record run or time of day TOD. Record run, I like it because I see from 0 all the way to the time that you finish recording, and I like that. Time-lapse recording, it's set to off because I don't do time-lapse on the iPhone right now, but maybe in the future, I just have to turn it on or enable it. And as you can see here, if media drops frame, the choice is alert or stop recording. Of course, I'm gonna choose alert because I don't want it to stop recording when it detected a drop in frame. So there's that. Now moving on to camera. So the first one is enable vertical video. So I set it to on, why not? And the next thing is the trigger record indicator. It's set to beeper and flash, and done. I chose beeper and flash so that I will see if I'm recording or not. And my other indicator is that the time code turns into red color and it's running. So I know that it's recording. And now use volume button to trigger record. Why not? I set it to on, as well as lock white balance on record. This is very important. So once you hit record, it will never change your white balance, which is a good thing even if you pan the camera. And then here we go with the shutter measurement. I set it to angle, and as I mentioned earlier, 180 degrees is the key for me to not worry about the shutter speed anymore because it will always double the frame rate to retain the motion blur, which I like. And now flicker free shutter based on 60 Hz because we're in North America. And now lens correction is on so that it will automatically correct if there are distortions in your shot. So that's good. Anamorphic squeeze, none because I don't have any anamorphic lens for my iPhone 15. Flip image for SLR lens, off. Lock current orientation, I set it to off. If ever I wanted to film vertically, then I can just do that. Mirror front facing camera, I just have it set to off. And audio format is AAC, that's what I chose. Record audio as stereo all the time, and sample rate is always 48 kilohertz, or you can do auto 44.1 kilohertz. But to match any of my cameras or even my Rodecaster Pro, I have it set to 48 kilohertz and it works just fine. Audio metering, it's okay. VU meter is just fine for me, minus 18 dBFS, so that's okay. Monitor, status text is my choice, although you can always do mirror display or even clean feed if you have this plugged into, like, let's say Atomos using the ProRes codec. Alright, so there you go. Again, I skipped some features because they don't apply to me. Alright, so that's about it for this video, and I hope you find it helpful. This is Bernie. Until the next one, thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.